Hi again, everyone. Today we're going to make another card for Christmas. Today we're going to be making this easel card that stands up like this. We have a Santa, a sack, a sleigh. The presents are going to be the stopper. Yeah, and these little sets, when I flip the camera around, I'll show you more, but these are Elizabeth, and they are adorable. So let me get the camera turned around and I'll show you the other ones in this set. All right, so here's the card that we're going to be making today. But let me show you the other pieces to the set. So here's the Santa, and here's the sleigh we're going to be using. But they also have a Mrs. Claus and an elf. So I have those two. So I have made some of these. Let me show you, because they are really cute. There's Mrs. Claus, there's the elf, there's Santa. And Santa you can do in two different positions. She gives you the pieces to either put his arms down, or holding his little toy sack and his list. And you can see from here that his sack absolutely fits in the sleigh if you'd rather put it in the sleigh. So she gives you a couple choices on how to do them. They're not just a one way and that's it. But they also have a fairy, which I got the fairy, and I took the fairy dress and put it on the elf pieces, and I did flip his hair upside down to make it look longer. And I have a little girl elf. They're exactly the same size, so her dress fit on there just perfect. So I needed the arms and the dress. And we'll do this card later on in another video. But yeah, that absolutely worked for that. And so I got the fairy because then I had the wings and everything. Yeah, it's like Mrs. Claus. You can see, you can either put her hands together, you can wear a hat without a hat. So yeah, there's lots of choices, and I don't see why I can't do this one and make her hair blonde or brown and don't put the Christmas things on it, and I can absolutely make this into a regular everyday person. That won't be hard to do at all. So, and he definitely could be a boy if you maybe cut the suspenders off and did his legs in skin tone, which is what I did here. You absolutely could make this an everyday boy. So these I think are going to be really useful. I got these at the Expo when I was there a couple weeks ago. But yeah, so this is what we're doing today. So I have everything cut out from the Santa and the sleigh. Let me flip these over so you can see all the pieces. So you can see the sleigh's pretty straightforward. You have the sleighs all in one piece. You have a tree. You have 3 presents and then 3 bows. The Santa, some of the little pieces are combined together. So like these are all the white cuffs for the various pieces. You have his pom-pom and the fringe for his hat are all together. And these little pieces here, these are all kind of tiny. So when I cut those out, let me bring in my tray where I have everything all ready to go. I stuck them to a piece of tape. And I actually cut them out in white and then just colored them before I took them out. And then stuck them to a piece of tape because, yeah, there were a couple little tiny pieces in this. And I do have all the pieces here, so we won't use all of these because I'm going to have him holding his sack like in the original. And I did cut out 2 pieces here because I am going to make the bottom of the sleigh black instead of coloring it in. And this is my snowdrifts here. All right, so let me put these to the side and we will get started. All right, so this is going to be a 7x7 landscape card. So the first thing we're going to have to do is fold the front in half. You could score this at 2.5 if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and fold it like that. And with an easel card, I like to fold it in both directions. I like to just really get that sucker folded. I think it just stands up a little bit easier. All right, so this is going to be our front. So let's bring in the original that I did. So this all top part is blue. So to color that blue, I'm going to use powder blue and sea glass to color the top. And I'm going to color it just past this line here. So let me grab my scratch paper. All right, I'm going to grab a new piece. And I'm going to start with the light color first, the sea glass. I'm going to fold this under so I don't get any on the back. Flip it this way since I'm left-handed, a little easier. And we're going to start putting color on this. All right, now I'm going to switch over to the powder blue. I'm going to put it along the edge, in the corners. I'm going to leave this part in here lighter. All right, we have that part done. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my Merry Christmas up here. And for that one, I'm using the Crafter's Companion Watercolor Christmas from last year and the year before. It's just a nice Merry Christmas. It's 2 parts. The Christmas and the Merry are 2 different things. They also have snow, wishes, greeting, holiday. It's a nice little collection of Christmas stamps. All right, here's the stamping platform. I have a sticky mat, but since this is 2 layers, I'm going to go ahead and hold that piece down. Now I'm going to grab the Santa I have made, because I just kind of need spacing here. So this Santa is going to sit over here. Let's see, his little sack's going to be over that way, his arms. So this just needs to be over here. And I want to do this before I attach all this, because some of this is going on foam, and then it's going to be harder to stamp that. All right, put Santa over there for another card. Okay, so now we need to attach our snow. Now I have a file that will cut the snow, but if you don't have a file, you just need to cut snow. Just take a 5x7 piece of paper. It's about, I would go about 3 inches by 7 for the top one. And you're just gonna go across and you're just gonna cut yourself some snowbanks like this. And I would end it down, not up, because you can see this one ends up and it looks a little weird if it's on top. It's fine if it's in the middle. But yeah, just cut yourself some snowbanks. And actually, if you cut it on a piece that's wider than this, you can use what's left over to as a stencil, which would be nice. All right, so we have our snow. So I'm going to edge this a little bit in blue, just to give it a little something. Get my paper back here. This one will go this way, this one's going to go this way, this one's going to go this way. I am going to grab my sea glass. And the first card I did it in a light gray, and I don't think I like that as much, where on the inside I did it in the blue, and I like that a lot better. So I'm just going to go across the top, just so when I layer them up, you can see the edge a little bit better. That's it. Now we'll glue these together. Now I'm going to glue the back one on first onto the card, because I need to make sure that this covers the top part here, the fold, because you don't want this fold to show from the front. Because you can see here, I have one little spot here where it slid down and it shows. So I want to make sure that does not show this time. So I am going to put glue on here. Now I'm going to put glue across the top of here and not on here, because this part is going to be floating. So I just want to lay this down to where I will not see that fold. So let's do it from the back. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to pull this down, but not past the fold. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Oop, that is really crooked. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to leave it like that. Just like that. Yeah, now that's covered. So now, when we put these other two on, we can just glue. These are going to be glued completely down. So we can just put glue on here. And we'll bring this down, I think to about there. You can see that blue line just gives you a little bit of a shadow. Just enough to give it some definition. All right, so this will be on the front. So when it stands up, that's what we'll see. And that way we don't see a line there. Okay, now for the now we're going to let that dry for a moment before we do the inside. So now we'll start working on the sleigh. So for the sleigh, when I did the first one, I cut it off and attached a black piece to the bottom. The second one I did, I just colored it. And I think I like cutting it off better. So I'm going to take my little scissors, I'm going to snip this off here. Yeah, off here, off here. Now for the sleigh part, I am going to cut it up. Let's see, so I need that piece. I'm going to cut it here. Gives me something to glue it onto. So this will sit like this. This will then sit on top. There. Yeah, I think that looks better. There you go. All right, now I want to put a little bit of color on here, so let me grab cherry red. And I'm using cherry red just because it matches the red I have. Whatever red you use is probably going to be slightly different shade. And I'm just going to go around here, maybe a little underneath here, up here in the end. Just to give it a little something, something. All right, so we have that. Now I'm going to take my sparkle pen, because I love my sparkle pen. I am just, there's a line here. See? So I'm just going to cover everything above that line. And I'm going to go over the sleigh blade. There we go. All right, sleigh is complete. So now, for this one, let's bring this in. So let's put the presents together. So I'm going to put 3 presents in the sleigh. And it does emboss a little line on there, so there is a front and a back. So then I need, let's see, I need 1 for here, 1 medium, 1 for here, Oh, looks like I cut the yellow. Well, we'll just color that. All right, so the 3 that are left here are going to be for the inside. And for the inside, I am going to snip off these ends where the box lid sticks out. So those 3 are going to be for the inside. So since I colored that yellow and yellow, let me grab a different color. Blue, let's see. Yeah, let's see. I'll end up with like a greenish color. That'll be fine. So one will be over here. All right, so these, grab my, you just simply put glue down the strip. And the bow is on the top. So it sits like this. The yellow one will sit like that. And the green one will sit like that. Now I just have to decide how we want them in the sleigh. I think I'm going to put these a second to set up. All right, we'll give those a second to set up. So while those set, I'm going to do the ones for the inside. Now for the inside, we're going to snip off the stems. All right, so we have big, medium, small. We have big bow. I put it on like that on the top. You have the medium. And we have the small. All right, so now those are all set for the inside. Put those back in my little tray here. All right, so let's decide. I think we'll put the big one here, the little one next to it, and this one will sit up here. We'll just glue these to the back. There you go. The sleigh just needs the tree. And I think I'm going to stick a little piece of foam on the front of this. I didn't on this one, but I think it needs a little piece of foam. And I think we'll put them in the same place. Yeah, that foam looks a lot better. Yep, that's better. All right, so the sleigh is done. We'll put that to the side, let that dry. So now we need to work on Santa. So Santa has a bunch of pieces. All right, first let's work on Santa's body. So this is his jacket. Here's his pants. This goes with his jacket. Here is one arm. Here is the other arm, but we're not going to use that arm because we're going to put it around the sack. So we need the short arm. So let's look at the packaging again. So you can see here his arm is curved over here and then straight that way. So they give you a curved arm for the sack or 2 straight arms. So we're going to use 1 curved arm, 1 straight arm. So we need, let's see, what we got here. Okay, the 2 that are the same are for here, for his little pants. And this goes with the other straight arm. And the one that has a curved arm has a little curved cuff. All right, so let's get all this glued together first. And Santa's height will vary depending on how you glue this together. I noticed the biggest difference is in his head when we do his face. So we're going to put the hat on last to make sure we have room for his eyebrows, because when I made my second one, I didn't have room for his eyebrows. So that poor Santa has no eyebrows. So we'll put those on last. All right, so this one here, just going to put glue across the back here. And this fits the notch here. I was just going to put that low enough that all the reddish covered. And that sits there. Like that. And this gets glued to his legs. Make sure Santa's straight. Now his boots. Make sure we don't glue his boots on backwards. All right. Want his boots facing out. So 1 boot goes here, 1 boot goes here. And here, if you want a shorter Santa with longer pants, you can make your boots higher. Or if you want to stretch them out, you can make your Santa probably, I would say if you stretched out all the pieces, you could probably make him a good ½ inch taller, maybe. Yeah, so when you do this with the legs, let me pull this up a little bit. You just want to make sure that his feet are even. So when he stands, he's going to look straight, and he's going to look straight there. So we're good. All right, so now this arm will get glued on, yeah, this way. And he gets glued behind. This is where you have to decide how far out you want his arm to stick, because he's going to be holding this. So this is going to come out even further. So that's probably good. And then the cuff goes here. Oops, that was not dry. Probably should be using tacky glue. There we go. I'm going to put the cuff on this one. I'm not going to attach it yet, because I'm going to attach this when I do the sack. So that all kind of goes together. All right. Now his mittens are the same way. You have 2 mittens that are the same, and then one that is different. The one that is different is the one for when he's holding his sack. So we will need that one. And it is 2 pieces. Because if you look on the original, we have the hand, the sack, and then the top. It all sits on a layer. So we will attach the back part, which you want his thumb facing up, so he can hold his sack. All right, we'll give that a second to dry. That's the other part there. There's that. His two mittens. I only need the one. You can go ahead and put this on now. His belt. This belt, you're just going to slide it down to where it matches, because it does fit side to side in one spot. That's where he goes. And we'll put his buckle on in a minute. Now, while all this has a second to dry, let me grab my brown. I'm going to use cocoa. So I have warm cocoa, and I am just going to very lightly go around the edge here to make it look like aged kind of linen paper. Yeah, that's absolutely plenty. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing with his sack, but the sack I can be a little bit more heavy-handed. So the sack, we're going to go around the edge. And I'm going to go really heavy down here where it's all gathered, because it would be darker where it's all gathered. And then we'll go around a little bit up here. All right, now let's get this sack together. For a second there, I thought I did the wrong side. All right, so we have the sack. We have Santa. The sack is going to go behind him. And on his shoulder, we're going to have his hand. You're going to have the sack like this. This is going to be behind. And then this piece goes on front to make it look like he's holding it. So we're going to need some glue. Here at his shoulder. I'm going to attach it there. This is going to be behind his cuff. Front of his thumb. Need to scoot this just a tad. There we go. That's better. And this goes over the top. And this will go behind Santa. Then this will sit in the front. So you just have to decide how much you want the bag hanging out. So you want this to kind of match up here. And this will come up here. You want this to sit just slightly higher, so it actually looks like it's coming up over his shoulder. Okay, so now for his head. So let's do his hat really quick. His hat's easy, but we're going to put the hat on last. All right, so the hat gets a little puff on the end. And we're going to glue this around the edge. The edge, you just want to make sure you don't have any of the red hanging down. Okay, so now we just need his head. So I'm going to flip this over so you don't smear that again. All right, now I will say Santa's head has some tiny little pieces to it. But it's no harder than putting on jewels. So if you like putting jewels on cards, you'll be fine. So I am going to take my C0 and just go where he would have a shadow. So he would have a shadow in the bottom of his mustache. Let's tip that a little bit. We'll go along here a little bit. Maybe give him a little curls. When this dries, you're hardly going to see it. We'll just give it a border. There we go. All right, so if you look really closely at this, there are two spots for the eyes. So I'm going to bring my light down. All right, so I'm going to take some tacky glue. I'm going to, just like putting on gems, tiny bit of glue. I'm going to take my jewel picker, and I'm going to pick up Santa's eyes. And we'll give him one eye. You just want to make sure the eyes are straight up and down, or else Santa will look a little weird. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to put his eyebrows in next to make sure we have room for his eyebrows. Poor Santa, the second one I made had no eyebrows. And when you put the eyebrows on, you want the thicker part toward the center. If you put them on the other way, Santa looks a little angry. And we don't want an angry Santa. So it's flipped upside down. I'm just going to put the hat on, make sure he doesn't have angry face. All right, he doesn't have angry face. Okay. So now we're going to put on the beard. When you put the beard on, you kind of want it to go past his ears. You just want to cover the bottom part of the head. All right, so now we can glue it to his body. So we don't want to put it, thinking about here. There you go. So now we have his nose and his mustache and his mouth. So the mouth is this tiny little red piece here. And it does fit right in this little section here. It It's right in there. And then his mustache goes over the top of that. And then his nose goes right there at the top of the mustache. And his glasses do not cover his eyes. They sit on the bridge of his nose. Now these little things, this is something that if you have a Xyron, you can run it through on, run a piece of white paper through your Xyron, then cut it all out, and then color it before you take it off the paper. And then that might be an easy way to do this too. Yes, the glasses are a little tiny. All right, see? So now he has eyebrows. He had room for the eyebrows. Now we're going to cover his bald head. And we have Santa. Sure he's not stuck. Yeah. Now we will put his list in his hand. We're just gonna glue it like that. Put his thumb on the front of it. There we go. There you go. Santa is complete. Oh, no, he's not. He needs his belt buckle. Now he's complete. So now on the inside of the card, I have wishing you warm hearts and bright memories this Christmas. So we're going to stamp that in the middle. But before we do that, I'm going to take my edge that I had left here, and I am going to take, I think, the powder blue. You can do sea glass. It doesn't matter. Either one will work. And I'm going to lightly make a couple little snow drips here. A little darker than that. Just so when he's standing here, he looks like he's standing in the snow. There. And you brush over it with what was left. Now I'll get my stamping platform. Fold this. I'm going to do it this way. Get that out of my way. Now the wishing you a Christmas is going to be over here. Because when this folds up, this will be like this. The presents will be over here. Then I'll have this over here. All right, we're almost done. So what we have left to do is we have to attach Santa. So the sleigh, I'm just going to glue straight on. So Santa's going to go over here. So the sleigh, I'm going to line up as far over as I can. You want to line up the bottom. Now Santa's going to be on foam. Get him all foamerized. All right, now this is a one stick deal, so let's get everybody lined up here. Let's say, so we want his feet down here. Make sure Santa's straight. And press down. Oh, wait a minute. We put too much. Oh, no. Okay. Don't want to go up too far in his head. I went up too far in Santa's head. Let me peel this off. Just cut this off. So when you make one, don't put any on his head. That's way too far. All right, now we're good. Glad I saw that before I pressed down too hard. So now all we have left is the 3 presents for the bottom, which they are already glued. So now, let's see, let's look at the original. Let's put the bows, get back here in the center. So I'm going to put the little one here, I'll put the big one here. Let's glue these together. Glue this one down here. Like that. Yep, it's upside down. That's, yeah, tuck it under the bow. Here we go. Now that needs foam. I'm going to put thicker foam on that. I'm going to use the 1/8. Now we decide how far up we want Santa to stand, and I think about here. Press that down. And this card is finished, folks. All right, so here's our finished card. This is the one we did today. Folds flat. Santa's there with his sack. Now if you look at the original one I did, the presents do look a little bit different. I put a ribbon going down the presents. This one doesn't have the ribbon. This one does. And his hands ended up in a slightly different position because you're never going to make the card the same way twice. And there it is. So this is a fun little card. And I love these little figures. I think these little guys might be making a lot of appearances. Because, you know, they're just really kind of cute. We have the elf. We have Mrs. Claus. She definitely needs to make an appearance someplace. And there's Santa using the other arms, just standing there by himself. And the little girl. Wait, where's the little girl? There's the little girl. She'll be on a card soon. So yeah, so, and once again, these were from, here's the package, Elizabeth Craft Design. And yeah, so I hope you give it a try. And use what's in your stash if you don't have these little figures. But anything will work to stand up like this with the little snowbanks. You can use animals, pretty much anything. And I hope you enjoy it and give it a shot. And if you liked it, give me a like. And if you want to see the other Christmas videos that are going to be coming, subscribe so you won't miss those. And until next time, stay crafty.